Hey, Derek, it's Rick Moore in Arizona Republic. Just kind of want to get your thoughts on what you've been doing. What have you been up to during this period? Obviously, I know it must be tough not to have any ice time, but what have you been trying to do to stay in shape and I guess.
Yeah, it's obviously a unique time. Doing a lot of home workouts. I actually have a Peloton bike, so I've been hammering Peloton really hard. Just trying to do anything you can to kind of get good sweats in and work those lungs as best you can. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of stuff that you can do at home, and I've actually found a pretty good groove of just kind of mixing in as much as strength stuff as I can and doing home workouts and with the Peloton.
I'm kind of curious to know how long in the off season do you go without getting on the ice? Is this the longest you've gone without getting on the ice in a while, or do you wait a couple weeks till after the season to get on the ice anyway?
Yeah, I guess I don't even know where we're at right now. We're probably just over 2.5 weeks right now, 3 weeks. But yeah, I usually go if the season ends. I'll go anywhere between 2 and 3 weeks before I get back on the ice. I enjoy being on the ice. I'll do a lot of in the summer when the season ends. I'll do a lot of just kind of mess around hockey to start the summer, just to get back on the ice and get your hands back to where you were and kind of get a feel for it. But yeah, I'd say roughly around 2 to 3 weeks before you get back
on. Coach was saying, yeah, whenever the season, if the season, whatever, when it starts back up, it's going to take some time for you guys to get on, to get back in ice shape. How long do you think it will take you guys once it's, or have you even thought about it, really?
I mean, listen, I wish I had the magic ball that told you how long it takes to get you back into ice shape, but I don't. It's a unique thing. You can sit and do, like I said, Pelotons, and you could run miles and miles, bike forever, but when you put those skates back on, you start doing a bag skate on the ice, it just doesn't compare. So everyone's still looking for that secret formula that translates to the ice, but I haven't found it yet. If you know someone that has it, though, please keep it to yourself and tell me.
Gotcha. Thank you.
We'll go to Tressa Rusnick with 3TV CBS 5. Go ahead, Tressa.
Hi, Derek. My question for you, just with the adjustment and everything, how has this been for you mentally? It has to be quite a shift.
Yeah, I mean, we were kind of in the peak push of the season, and then you kind of downshift without really having any closure on it. So it's definitely unique. I don't want to beat it down, but it is such a unique situation. There's so many things that are going on, so many elements to it. I've actually been pretty good with it so far. I've got a lot of hours with the kids. I've been doing a lot of catch up with them, and they're at a fun age right now. The Arizona weather is just starting to get into that prime stage, so we're enjoying the outdoors, and I've actually been pretty good so far.
When you talk about your kids, what kind of things have you guys been doing now that you're home?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. There's not a whole lot. Today, actually, our neighborhood had all the houses put out an animal somewhere in the front of their house, and we went through the neighborhood trying to find each animal, and so we had we usually get on a walk. Max, my son, we just got him on training wheels, so he's been biking around the neighborhood quite a bit. And yeah, we've just been, plugging away with outdoor stuff in the driveway, chalk. I got chalk on me probably right now. Just trying to do whatever we can to keep the kids outside, and we're blessed to have good weather. I talk to family back home, and it's not as nice, and they're stuck in the house. So to be able to be outside and got the pool on a little bit, so when it gets warm enough, we sneak out there in the afternoon. So we're pretty lucky, but we've been able to find a good group of keeping the outdoors.
Thank you.
We'll go to Craig Morgan with The Athletic, and then Matt Lehman with Arizona Sports.
Sorry, muted on me. How much are you getting a chance to talk to teammates, and what sort of secrets are you sharing for passing the time?
Yeah, obviously you've got this new Zoom app that I just got introduced to. But yeah, we've been able to get on it, and probably we've only had like one or two big group ones that we were able to kind of hang out, and then with the wives too, and just kind of interact with people that way. I've done a lot of FaceTime individually. I've been kind of chatting with guys here and there, but yeah, a lot of screen time with the boys right now.
Are you into this Tiger King thing that everybody else seems to be into right now?
Yeah, and like I thoroughly enjoyed watching it, and I don't know if we have enough time for me to explain everything in that I had going through.
Yeah, we need to get you behind the mic for that, right?
Yeah, we might need to do a Stepan behind the mic, Tiger exclusively on Zoom, just to see what guys are thinking. Because it was, I mean, it felt like each episode there was something new that was just like a huge bomb. And me and my wife, we watched in 2 days. I don't know if it's 7 or 8 episodes. We watched in 2 days.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah, no problem.
Matt Lehman?
Hey, Derek. Matt Lehman here, Arizona Sports. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. There's been a lot of ideas thrown out there on how to resume the season, whether it be a training camp and then a few regular season games and the playoffs, or just go straight into the playoffs or a 24-team playoff. I'm just curious what you think the best way is to resume the season.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of downtime at home. Been thinking a lot of possible scenarios and outcomes. But there's just so much unknown right now. It's hard to really predict what our potential anything. We can't put a timeline on anything. Obviously, there's best case, there's worst case, and there's everything in between. I personally think that if there is something that goes on, I don't even know. I honestly don't even know how it would work logistically. But you have to try to find a way to do a tournament, I think, of some sort. With how do you do that? I'm not sure. I don't know if guys can even have enough time to get themselves back on the ice and get themselves focused to play and get themselves mentally ready, or even keep themselves safe from, playoff style hockey. So I don't know if it works, but I think, best case scenario, start with some sort of tournament. But I don't know how that works, and I don't know when it works. And I think, obviously, I'm a big believer in the biggest thing is safety of everybody, and we need to make sure that this thing is under control and everyone is very safe before we even think about playing hockey. And that's my personal opinion. I think this thing's much bigger than the game of hockey.
We'll go to Charlie Lapastora with Fox 10 and then Mark Brown.
Yeah, Derek, glad to hear your family's doing well. And speaking of it being bigger than hockey, being able to spend more time with your kids and your wife, has it put things maybe into perspective for you? I know talked yesterday about, a lot of hockey players having this routine, and with that routine all of a sudden not there, how is that? What have you learned from this whole situation we're all in right now?
Yeah, it's I don't know if my wife's probably begging for a road trip right now and get me out of the house. But no, it's been really good to my kids are at an age that it's so fun to be around and be a part of so many, like I said, my son just started riding a bike, which I know it's just on training wheels, but it's cool that I got to be here and be a part of something like that. The routine stuff, that's something that every year when your season ends, it takes some time to adjust to, your schedule is a lot more open, and you have maybe a workout in the morning, and in the summer you have a skate, so you have a lot more downtime. So there's always a little bit of adjustment period, and each year you get better and better at it. But I think when you have kids, it's an easier transition because you just want to spend so much time with them and log as many hours as you can with them. So I've been doing a lot of that. It's kind of helped me smooth the transition over. And
then just one more real quick. I know the team was doing really well. You guys had playoff aspirations. What's your thoughts on all this, on hold until whenever, and how the team was doing, excited for potentially making the playoffs, and then it all is all of a sudden on hold?
Yeah, it's hard not to break things down right now. You don't really know what to expect. You don't know what the future holds for hockey. And I look at it as really 3 parts of the season leading up to, I think we were finished at 70, right on the nose, 71 did we finish with? I look at it 3 parts of the season, and we started extremely well. We found a really good groove and a consistency. We dipped, and we had a really rough part where we weren't able to find that consistency through 60 minutes of hockey. And then right before the break came, I felt like we found it again, and we were starting to climb. And maybe the results weren't there early on in it, but we were playing good hockey, and we deserved better in a lot of those games. Over the period of time, you think that you'd be able to find the groove, and I felt like we were trending in the right direction in the second, and right before the pause.
I'll go to Mark Brown.
Hi, Stefan, Derek. Glad you're feeling well and being safe. Just to follow up on that, there was a skid in late February and March where I think you guys kind of hit the wall, and lack of scoring was probably the main culprit. Assuming the season resumes at its current pace, and you have 8 or 9 home games to go and a couple of weeks to go, does scoring become the priority coming down the stretch? It really, in order to begin to qualify for the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is at this time, well, I tread carefully saying it this time, towards the end of the season when you get into the playoff push, scoring goals is much more difficult. And you have to find other ways to do it. And when you're not scoring, you have to generate more offense in order to give yourself more chances to score. And I think goal scoring is so big and it's difficult to do. You have to find consistency through your lineup. You have to find secondary scoring. You got to find high-end scoring. You got to be able to have it all year round, and especially at the end of the year when it gets more difficult to score and into the playoffs when teams play extremely stingy. You have to be able to generate offense when maybe you aren't you don't have the hot stick. You have to be able to generate your scoring opportunities and get it higher up so that your percentages of goals go in more. More chances, more goals, and those things, those formulas are where you focus in on when you're struggling.
Thank you.
Go to Alex Kinkoff with ArizonaCoyotes.com.
Hey, Derek. Good to see you and glad to hear that the family's staying safe and healthy. Now that you've had time to maybe look back at the first 70 games played this year, is there a particular moment, whether that be a game-winning goal, an experience with a teammate, something that the guys did on a road trip together that really stands out, that's really locked in your memory bank and you feel will be for a long time ahead?
Yeah, I mean, each year there's always multiple ones, and I always try to, every 10 games I feel like that you could probably pick one out. I think there's a lot of moments in the beginning of the year where I felt like we were playing so well just as a team. We would just go out and we'd have 4 lines and 60 buy-in. Darcy, obviously, you could talk about Darcy the entire 70 games of how big his moments were throughout those games. I think when we traded for Taylor Hall that first game in San Jose, that goal, the game-winning goal, I think O was the one that got it. The work ethic that Taylor did on the forecheck and was able to create the turnover and get a goal and then eventually get us a win. That was a big moment too for Taylor kind of fitting in, and I that's one that's sticking in my head right now. But I think there's lots. I mean, I think we set up a team meeting, when we were in a little bit of a dip and Edmonton was coming down, and we played Edmonton really well, and that kind of turned us going in the right direction too. So there's a couple moments for sure that you could write down.
And excuse me if this one comes off as a little bit repetitive, but some of the guys have mentioned that this experience, for as many negatives as there have been positives as far as things they found they've had more time to do. Obviously, you guys have a very, very busy schedule, and the summers can go by quick. Have you been pleasantly surprised by maybe something you've been able to do during this time that you really haven't been able to find that time for in past years?
Yeah, I think, I know I'm beating this one. I just keep coming back to it, but I've logged some great hours with my kids. I really enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun with them. I think they're at such a cool age, both of them. And I've really been able to, maybe miss, if we were in the regular season here, I'd be missing out on a lot of this great weather and being outside with them and enjoying time with them and watching them grow and being that close with them 24/7 down here. Obviously, when we go back home, I get to spend a lot of time with them. But when we're here, I don't, I'm always on the go and my schedule is a lot different. So be able to get a lot of time with them and log some hours with them here, it's super great.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Yep, no problem.
Any more questions for Derek online?
Yeah, Derek, just one more for me. Rick Morn again with the Arizona Republic. As someone who spent a good amount of your life in New York City, an area that's really been affected hard by this virus, I'm curious if you've had any discussions with maybe some folks that you're still in contact with in New York City, and maybe even just kind of, can you speak as somebody who lived in New York City as kind of what's going on there right now, and any thoughts you have on that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a city like that, to have something come in and a virus like this that is doing what it's doing, it's scary. Obviously when you're in the city, you always thought about that. You always had those thoughts, like if something were to come in, and what would really happen here. And certainly something that you obviously wish everybody in the city is safe and they're doing their best to take out those positives that we talked about. I know apartments can be a little smaller than homes, and to be quarantined might be more difficult. Yeah, it's a scary thought. And when I was in New York, we did have those thoughts, like if something like this were to happen, it could be a little hectic. And I know one thing's for sure: New Yorkers, I was there for 7 years. They're tough. It's a tough brand of people. They'll come out of it stronger than they went into it, and they'll find a way to be that New York swagger with it, and just be fine. And it's incredible. They've done it so many times, and they're just tough people. I do have obviously some teammates that are there. One lives out in the suburbs, and they kind of they're staying there and just kind of doing what we're doing and staying safe that way. But for the most part, anyone that's in the city that I've heard was trying to get out before this was like 3 weeks ago. So I haven't really talked to the team's changed quite a bit too, which is kind of scary. Is there's not many of my old teammates that are there anymore, but the ones that I did talk to, one in the suburbs is sticking around, and the ones that were in the city got out.
Thanks, Derek.
Derek, Colin Harmon, ABC 15. Other than working out, are you doing anything hockey related in terms of like stick handling in the garage or rollerblading like talk to try to keep some resemblance of hockey going?
Well, if you ask my son, we have a very strong 7-game series going in the driveway that counts. I think I've gotten a couple slashes of the shins. No call, but I let it slide. That's the way it works.
And then back to Grabs real quick. If this quarantine goes on for a long time, how big do you think he's going to be by the time you guys get back into the locker room?
Yeah, listen, I said it when he first signed here. He's still got the second best body on the team. He's still chasing. So hopefully a couple more weeks in quarantine in that gym, maybe he'll be able to catch up. He's going to on Twitter, but what else do we got to do?
All right, thanks, Derek.
No problem.